Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Got our little storm in last night that we were talking about in the last video. Got the forge going, warming up the shop a little. It's pretty nippy out here this morning. We got had a couple of buddies of mine stop by yesterday, and we kind of hung out in the shop and visited. I made this little bottle opener while we were just kind of hanging out here and chewing the fat and what have you. It's good to see those guys, Scott and Jack. They stopped by. I hadn't seen Jack in years. We used to work together. And we just kind of hung out, and I made this, and you know, I didn't video any of it, but it was fun. Had a good time. Today, however, we're going to get back on our knife where we left off. We've got two of these pieces of aluminum here. We need to split this way, so we have two halves this size, you know what I mean? And we've got two of these, and we need 4 pieces. 2 for the bolster up here, and 2 for the butt, the pommel back here. So then we got to figure out our wood in between, but we got to get these sized up, drilled and pinned where they're going to be, and get them pretty much shaped the way we want them in that before we can harden this knife and everything. So let's get on with it. Alright, so I was going to draw a line along here in the center, you know, with my Sharpie. Both of my Sharpies are done. They quit, so I guess that's not going to happen. Earlier I tried to cut this with the bandsaw. It's just too thick for my little bandsaw. It's not going to work. So we're going to have to cut it with the old 7-inch angle grinder here. Alright, that's better. I had to get my mask on. I started cutting this without my little, you know, wear your mask, man. Alright, that's going to be hot as the July night, man. So, put the glove on here. Turn this around. Just like that. Not perfect, but that's what the grinder's for. So there's one. Now we got to do this one. Alright, so we got our 4 pieces of aluminum here. One of them's real thick, one of them's really thin. Quite a bit of grinding to do on these to get them all. I want them all to be the same thickness. This one here is really going to take some. They're still pretty hot from being cut with the cutoff wheel. I'm going to get my mask on here and we're going to start grinding on those a little bit and see what we can come up with. You can see by the different coloration there how much of that I've actually been able to grind down. And that's a pretty thick piece, and it needs to be a lot thinner than that. I think we're going to try something else. I think we're going to put this in the vise and take a flap disc to it and try to get most of that off of there, and then we can flatten it out real nice on the bench grinder. Alright guys, here we are with our 4 little aluminum ingots. I just stuck these in the vise. I just stuck them in the vise like this and just lined up my jaws on both sides to the depth that I wanted to go. And then I took the flap disc and just ground it down until the metal was the same height as the vise jaw. And they're still different sizes, but that worked out pretty good, and we're going to grind them some more anyway. But we'll take these and fit them to the knife and figure out where we want our bolsters to be. And then we'll get our holes pinned and see, we'll probably have to do is pin these right to the knife and then cut them out. Try to cut them out. However, to get it where we want it to, you know, to the same profile as the knife. So, still quite a bit of work to do here, but we're getting there. Well, okay, so we got our little pieces of aluminum cut, rough cut, and placed generally where they'll be on the knife. And that gives you kind of an idea, and then that'll be wooden handle in between. But coming along, a lot of grinding and shaping on those billets, you know, those little 4 little billets we came up with. But that's the general idea right there. That's how they're going to sit on. That's how they're going to be on that handle, on that tang, and then there'll be, you know, wood in between. So. Well, we've got our holes laid out here for our pins, where our bolsters, our aluminum bolsters and pommel are going to go. We're just marking those. We can get our holes drilled in here, then we'll line up our aluminum and we'll get those where they go. And one more here. We broke our tip again. But anyway, I already did these front ones and we got those done. We'll go drill these. And we're getting ready to pin our aluminum on. we've got our holes drilled here for our bolsters and our aluminum tang, our aluminum pommel area there. We're going to put 3 pins in, each one this 1/8 brass, and then we'll probably pin this wood here centerpiece with 2 big 1/4 inch aluminum pins. We haven't really decided yet what we're going to do with the wood in the center, or how we're going to do that. But for the time being, we got those drilled. Now we can get the aluminum drilled, because we can match it up perfectly with the holes we already have. I don't know if you can see that very well or not, but we've got our pommel end here all squared away and straightened out. We're still going to want to take these pins out and go ahead and flatten these insides so that they sit in there. We don't have a gap like this, you know. But we're just getting the shape around the tang right now, dressed up, and we're going to try to get all this ready to put the final scales on. Rounding the edges of that a little bit, where that is on the front of the knife. We're not going to be able to do much to that once it's on the knife, because our blade will be coming out right down here. But just need to round that up just a little. Guys, so we've got all our aluminum components ground for our knife. They were kind of a pain. You know, we had to do these 2 for the front. They'll go on either side of the blade like this, up here. Come on, little guys. Cooperate here. So those will be up here on the front of the knife like this. And then these here will go on the back of the knife. Like so. So anyway, we've got our holes all drilled. We had to do some shaping and a little flattening on these back here to get them to fit right so that we wouldn't have gaps. So we're ready now for some micarta, because we're going to put this same thin black micarta on here, but we don't have enough. This is coming up too short. It needs to come all the way up underneath the bolster here. So it's too short, too wide, not long enough, too short, you know. So we got to make some more of this. But we've got all of our holes drilled where our aluminum ends are going to go. All of our holes are drilled in our ends. We've got them shaped up pretty well. What we've got left now is to, we'll pin those to the knife, and then we'll come in here and we'll measure for our wood scales. I've got to make some micarta. I'll probably go up and make that right now so that we have it. It takes a good 24 hours for that to cure up real nice, you know. You don't have to worry about it, but I'll make a nice piece of micarta that we can use for our scale liners. And then we'll figure out which wood we're going to be using. Not sure which. I've got a lot of different types of wood in here. So we'll figure that out too. And we'll do all that in the next video, I guess. We're going to call this one good for today. What is it now? Part 4. I believe this is Forging a Damascus Knife Part 4. You notice the forging part is the easy and the short part. It's all the finished work, the grinding, profiling the knife, putting these aluminum things on. I've never done that. I've used some aluminum before as dividers in a knife, in that first knife I made for Bob. But I've never used them on, you know, making bolsters, you know, and what have you. So kind of interesting. It's a lot of work putting those little things together and getting them all straight and how you want them so they'll fit the knife properly. But I think we're there. So I'll get some micarta made tonight, and in the next video we'll cut out our micarta. We'll cut out our wood part of our scales. We'll try to get the handles, scales, all the bolsters and the pommels and the scales and everything all pinned and glued onto the knife and ready to go. And then after that, all we'll have to do is kind of shape it, you know, and do all that finish sanding and all that on the thing. So hey, thanks for joining me today. It's dark out. It's time to get some dinner. I did a lot of work on those little pieces of aluminum that you all didn't see. Because like I say, I can't videotape it all, or you know, it'd be a forever video. So we're making progress. This finished stuff is just really slow. I had a couple of pins get stuck. I had to, you know, make a punch basically to get them out of there with, because I broke my small punch. So the next size up was too big. I had to grind it down and use it to get the pins out and what have you. But we got it ready to go back together now. So make some micarta, get our pins. We're going to cut some new pins. We beat those ones up pretty bad, but the aluminum fits. We'll make some more pins. We'll make some more micarta. We'll get everything laid out, get our wood ready, and in the next video we'll pin it all together. So I appreciate you being here. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you on the next one.